right. This should make sense to you that if you can now log in, you should have a log out, right? So, if you look up on the screen here, I'm going back to the nav bar, and this says if I'm logged in. Right now it says if I'm logged in, show new post. Everybody agree with that? And that's exactly what we'd want. I'm going to grab this whole thing right here. I'm going to grab this, I'm going to copy it to the clipboard, and I'm going to paste it right below. So I now have two of them in there. And I'm going to change this one to auth logout, and I'm going to change the wordage to logout. Now we're not done yet. We have to create the controller, and then we have to map the controller up, but that's at least a start of what we want to do. We want to put that in so they have to be logged in. All right? I'm not going to run it yet because it's not going to work because we don't have a route for it. Questions on that? All right. And again, it's only if you're logged in where you can either create a new post or you can log out. All right. So if you're not logged in, there won't be a log out there, which is the way it should be. All right. So I'm going to do a file save on this, and I'm going to go over into the controllers, and we need to create yet another controller here. So under the controllers folder, I'm going to do a new file and call it logout controller. .js. All right, not a very long file, like 5 or 6 lines. So module.exports equal, we've got our request and our response as we always do. All right, and then just 2 or 3 lines. Now, when we're done, we want everything associated with that session to be gone. Does that make sense? Because we've logged out. And that's what's known as destroying your session. So that's what we want to do. So we want to come in and say req.session.destroy. Now, we could leave it right there, but as long as we're going to all the trouble of doing that, all right, another paren there. Not sure. But okay. We're going to redirect them back to the home page. All right. Trying to figure out why I'm getting that. I think that would fix it. I think what I need is a paren here and a paren here. That didn't fix it either. Oh, brother.
Head to the bathroom.
Okay. That's correct. There's no functions. Brother. Rest on redirect. That's all correct. All right, whatever I wrote in here to begin with it doesn't like, so I'm going to try rewriting it literally right now to see if this will work. All right, oops, get rid of all this. Now, I'm not sure if this is going to work. We'll find out real quick. But what we're telling it to do is, for the logout, we want to destroy the session and just redirect them back. And I think when I did it like this, it gave me some kind of a weird error when I ran it, but we're going to find out. All right? So I'm going to do a file save right there. So that's the whole thing. Now, hopefully this makes sense to everybody. We don't need a form or anything like that for this. When we log out, we just want to be done. So ideally, in just a minute, when we make this change, now we have to add this. We've got to add the logout controller to our server.js file. But hopefully after we do that, all right, and we go and run it, you click logout, it should just send you right back to the home page. All right, ideally, at least, that's really what should be happening. So I'm going to do a file save here, and I'm going to open up the server.js file. There it is. And as we've been putting all of this other stuff in here, do the same kind of thing right here. All right. So, get rid of that. There we go. So we've got a login controller. We'll have a logout controller. Hopefully that makes sense. And equals require controllers, and this will be logout controller. Right there. So I just put in line 46 right here. All right. And we're going to go down to the bottom, and I'm going to copy the auth login line here, this one. Just going to copy it and put it down there. All right, and this will be logout. There's no middleware we have to run. We're just logging out. So it should be logout controller. So the two lines that I just added were lines 46 and line 57. Lines 46 and 57. And I'm going to save. And as they say, take it for a spin. So go back to here. Looks like it's still running. That's good. All right. Refresh. Log back in. I'm now logged in. There's a log out. I click log out. I'm back to my home page. Does all that make sense? All right, so the only thing that's left now is to add the 404 page. All right? Now, I'm going to do this in a little bit different way, just so you know. The order in which we do this stuff isn't going to matter. But since I already had up on the screen here my server.js file, okay? Since I already have this here, I'm going to put it down here. Now, I said something to you when we first started this stuff, and I repeated it a week or two ago, but I want to say it one more time. The way this works is like a switch statement. So when you go from page to page, the system starts right here. If it finds a match, it runs that. If it doesn't, it goes down to here. If it finds a match, it runs that, etc. You already saw this when I put the hello world, and whoever, Gabriel or whoever said that correctly guessed, it said cannot get slash, whatever, hello world, because there wasn't a route. So after we've got all of this stuff, we want this to be on the very bottom. We're going to put in 3 lines here. app.use request response. If we've gotten down to this point, please listen to this. If we have gotten down to this point, all right, so if we are here, what that means is we didn't find a route. Does that make sense to everybody? If we get down to this point, we didn't find a route. So we're going to do a res.render of a page we're about to create that we'll just call not found. You don't like that name, if you want to call it 404, well, I don't know if it'll let you do that because JavaScript's hinky about starting stuff with numbers, but we're about to create a file not found page. Okay? So the only time this should get hit is if we have something in our address bar that doesn't match one of these. That makes sense to everybody? So if it doesn't find a corresponding route, it's going to run this. All right? Okay, so I'm going to do a file save on that. And in here, I'm going to add a new page in our layout, in our views folder. And literally that's what I'm going to call it, not found. So I'm going to add a new file that's called notfound.ejs. And I don't know about you, but I don't really like to type in a ton of code if I don't have to. So I'm going to open up, look on the screen please, I'm going to open up the post file, I'm going to copy it, Control-A, Control-C, I'm going to close the post file, and I'm going to paste that in here. The nice thing is we're going to be able to get rid of just about everything we just typed in. We want to keep in this, the layout header, we want to keep in this, the nav bar, all right, but trying to remember what we need and what we don't need in here. So let's see. I don't know how, but what I copied in didn't copy. So let me grab all this again. Control-A, Control-C. All right, then I'm going to copy it in. Control-A, Control-V. There we go. Still not doing that. I guess it is. Okay. Why that looks funky to me, but it does. All right. So we want to come in here, somewhere in here, we have an H1 header. I think you'd agree with that, right here. Well, that's no longer going to be blog post title. All right, it's just going to be like 404 error file not found or something like that. Whatever you want to put in there. All right, we don't need any of this other stuff that's in here. So I'm going to get rid of all that. So we've got a header area that's got just this in it. With me? All right. And I don't need any of that. There is no article stuff to put in here. So I've got my header, my nav bar, all right, and this 404 thing that's in here. That's it. All right. So I'm going to save it. All right. And I'm going to come back here and I'm going to refresh the page. And after I do, I'm going to do just what I did before, /hello world. It's possible I missed something. I didn't think I did. Of course I did. So let's see. Oh, I didn't get rid of everything that was in there. Okay. Tell you what, I'm not going to even put an image in there because that's the problem. It's looking for an image and there isn't one. All right. So there's our 404 page. Again, I'm going to expect that eventually your home page is not going to look like that. You can put whatever you want to put in there. If you think that that is way too big of a photo, then put a smaller one in there. I like symmetry, so I think that the photos that you use for all the different pages, because I haven't been using them, as you can see, all right, should be at least very similar in size, if not the same size. All right. So what we have right now then is we have an application that when you start it up, okay, anybody can go to the home page, all right, but you cannot post until you've logged in. Or you create yourself, so you can create yourself as a new user here. So I can say Bob and Bob, send, all right. And I thought that would have gotten me in. So now I can log in as Bob and Bob. All right. Now I can create new posts. Now I can log out. Does all that make sense? So what we will do next time is we will add errors. And when I say add errors, we're handling error situations now, but we're not giving error messages to the user. All right, we will do that. Okay. Right now, when I've shown you things, and when we've logged error messages, etc., we've logged them to the console. All right, and again, your end user is never going to see that. Now, to show you when we start doing it, we'll put in the crummy errors that are given to you naturally by Node, but then we'll talk about how to customize them, and you can put in whatever you want. And that's going to go back to, if you remember, we talked a little bit about this the other day, and if I go out to read the docs, and I go down to validation, that you can come in here and you can put in, if something's required, that's the message that comes in. So in other words, I don't know why they use bacon, but they do. And if bacon is not there, it's going to come up with a message that says, why no bacon? All right? But if you don't use that, you get the very terse messages that get provided by the system itself. Sometimes they're a little hard to understand, not for you or me, but for an end user. All right? So that we're going to do that on Monday. Tuesday, we're going to go and move this. Plus, I don't know if you agree or not, but when you look at it right now, if I come in here and want to put in a new post, that's pretty ugly. And we'll put in our own editor right here, so we can bold and underline, etc., because it'll look a little nicer. And there are free built-in editors for this. You just grab one of the ones from that's available to us. Questions on anything? Again, I'm going to come in here and I'm going to do my git add dot git commit -m. Oops, that needs a value, Jeff. And I'm going to put in added logout. What else did we do? And other functionality. Okay. And git push -u origin master. There it goes. So when I get back to here and I refresh, it now has my added logout and other functionality. All right, so mine, hopefully at least, is working. So if you had any errors or any problems with yours, you'll be able to go back and do that. All right, and again, I think that in 2 more periods, I'm hoping at least, what I'm hoping is, like I said, I told you we'll do Monday. Tuesday we'll go in and we will use Heroku, plus we will move this out to a database. And right now, everything we're doing is local. We actually want to make it so it's out there and it's on the internet, so we'll do that.